Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to me, your host, Christian Watson. So, my friends, I must first say thank you guys for being so patient. I've had a little bit of a lull in my posting schedule, but I am back now, and I am excited to be here making some good commentary. I hope it is good commentary to you guys. So, I recently engaged in a debate in several different forums about bipartisanship and compromise and working with people who tend not to hold your viewpoint. Now, in life, my friends, you have no choice, I think. If you are in certain professions, to engage with certain people who's within your proximity, who you may not see eye to eye with. And I have nothing against the principle of compromise. I have nothing against the principle of collaboration in theory. I think that the brotherhood of man is the basis for society. I think that our mutual cooperation and collaboration, willful and voluntary, that flows from our benevolence is indeed a basis for society. John Locke believed the same thing. The natural law theorists believed the same thing. M.R.D. Vattel, one of my favorite natural law theorists, and for you guys who are not familiar, natural law is the basis for the American Constitution. M.R.D. Vattel simply believed that the rational self-love was the basis for all other love. So I believe when we are interested in ourselves and we love ourselves, we can begin to love other people. So I have nothing against the principle of collaboration in theory. I do have something against, however, in a political context, when it is it's more than just you or a localized organization or a particular unit at stake. When it's quite literally a plurality or a majority of a country at stake, I do have something against dealing with people in a compromising fashion to obtain similar goals. And so the debate was over the connection between Alexandria-Ocasio, AOC, and Justin Amash, a stalwart libertarian congressman, someone who I respected and I still respect in all honesty. I just think he's taken some wrong moves recently. And AOC and Justin Amash, they're basically collaborating, or they did collaborate on police reform and things of that sort. And the argument I've heard from many libertarians is that, oh, Christian, AOC wants to decentralize the government, libertarians hate centralization, ergo, AOC is libertarian friendly. Now, as a matter of syllogistic logic, that makes a lot of sense. But syllogisms, as the great Isabel Patterson pointed out, are simply tools for assessing the facts that are at our disposal. The facts that are at our disposal, however, do not need to be included in a syllogism. So a syllogism can be valid, but not factual. And unfortunately, the idea that AOC is any a foe of centralization is simply not factual. AOC supports a Green New Deal, which would hijack the economy under this lumbering governmental apparatus to push forth these Gnostic, as Vogelin would say, environmental priorities. AOC supports universal health care, which hijacks the labor and the value produced by independent doctors and puts it under a single centralized government death. AOC, I can keep going on. Almost every single policy this woman supports. AOC supports, she supports all kind of things that require centralization. Not just because her politics is a matter of positions. And this is why I disagree with compromising with people who have radically different anti-liberty, anti-constitutional, anti-natural law paradigms. I resist it because for them, that compromise may be something different in their paradigm than it is for your paradigm. So if libertarians, we want to reform the police, which is a great thing. However, police reform for a natural rights libertarian is very different than for a critical race theorist progressive or a democratic socialist. Very, very different. For one, it's about making sure our rights are not being impeded by the justice system. For the other, it's more so about trying to correct the power and privilege dynamics within a justice system, which they believe are tainted and marred by systemic racism. So, for the progressive, the moment you reform the police, you're not simply trying to protect natural rights, because they don't even believe in natural rights. They believe in positive rights. They believe that rights are given to you. So what you're doing there is that you're giving more people rights, and, watch this, you're fighting the racism which is allegedly in the system. Now, the problem with this thing is this. Let's say that a libertarian and a progressive compromise on police reform, they achieve the same effect but for different ends. When another police event happens that reflects the pattern of events that happened when the progressive was trying to identify the problem, the progressive can still interpret it as a matter of systemic racism. When your analysis is devoid of truth, no amount of compromise, especially political compromise, can ever satisfy it, because reality is resolute. Reality is resolute. So they may make an inch on the issue they think, but if more things keep happening and their ideas seem ineffective because they are viewing things in the wrong lens, i.e. viewing it as a matter of systemic racism, not simply police abuse, then that compromise is impotent. They're going to be angry. They're going to push harder for more things. When you have false beliefs, it's easier never to become satisfied. That's why this compromise between AOC and Justin Amash or whatever makes no sense. Just because you can decentralize in one area does not mean the end is decentralization. For Justin Amash, it certainly is. But for AOC, she wants the government to have a lot of power. She wants the government centralized. She wants the government to be an all-pervasive force for her kind of justice in society. But the argument I have been given is, oh, AOC wants to decentralize. No, she doesn't. AOC wants to attack the corridors of power that she thinks have not been centralized enough in the way that she wants to centralize them. Because for a social justice vision, and AOC is very much a social justice person, for a social justice vision to be enacted, policies are an inherent part of that. AOC also endorses the idea of anti-racism. And Kendi's anti-racism is most certainly a centralizing force. So, Bastiat said, I will work with anyone to do right and no one to do wrong. But the problem is, and I'll leave you with this, guys. What if, in the pursuit of doing right, the person you're working with believes things that are wrong, but thinks in their own twisted way that they're doing right? Don't tell me about the middle of the road. Tell me where the road goes. And the road of compromise between an ideology that is fundamentally anti-freedom, fundamentally anti-individualist, an ideology that is supposed to affirm those things, goes nowhere but to a pathway of broken dreams and false expectations. Think on it. As always, my friends, I love you, and please, if you want to support me, patreon.com/officialcwatson, or PayPal, which is officialcwatson@gmail.com. I love you guys so much, and please stay pensive. Bye-bye.